add and subtract signed numbers. Now remember when it says example 1, example 2, example 3, that each addition might be slightly different, but it's all the same skills. So it may not be the exact same example as your book, but it's the same skills. So let's look at A, C, and F first using these boxes that I've drawn. So the first one says add -6 plus -3. So let's let the boxes on the left, the blue ones, be positive. The ones on the right be your negatives. So if it tells me to take 6 negatives, so we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those 6, okay? And then 3 more negatives, 1, 2, 3. I have all negatives here. Okay, so I have -9. My answer would be -9. Now, if they had all been positives, if it was +6 plus +3, I would have added 6 boxes plus 3 blue boxes, and I would have had a +9. But when we have positives and negatives, they cancel each other out. So let's look at part C. Okay, so it's telling me to take 4 positives. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's look at those 4 and add 1 negative. Now what you need to remember is that a negative and a positive will cancel each other out. So if I take this one away, whoops, let me do it correctly here. If I take this one away to cancel out this one, the red one, and those are gone, then what do I have left? I have 3 positive boxes. So my answer to that one would be a +3. Let's look at F. Okay, so let's put these back where they belong and erase our dots here. With F, it says -4, and we're adding that to +4. Okay, so remember, positives and negatives cancel each other out. So if I take 4 negatives, well, this one's positives actually, but if I take 4 positives and I'm going to cancel them out using 4 negatives, if I can grab it, what I'm going to end up with, since they cancel each other out, is I'm going to have none left that are marked because these will all be canceling each other out. Oops. So there's some general rules that you learned when you learned about sign numbers in school, okay? What you want to do is remember you're going to keep the sign of the biggest number. If they're both the same sign, let's look at B. -12, -4. So you have 12 red boxes, you have 4 red boxes. When you add that together, you're going to have 16 red boxes. So that would be -16. When the signs are the same, you add them and keep the sign. Had they both been positive, you would add it and have a +16. Now, when signs are different, notice what we did up here on part C. When signs were opposite, we subtracted because that one canceled out one of the positives, that -1. So it gave us a +3. So the rule you learned is when signs are opposite, you subtract and keep the sign of the bigger one. So on this one, I have a -9 and a +16. So I have 16 blue boxes, 9 red. 9 of those are going to cancel each other out, and that's going to leave me with 7 blue boxes left. So it'd be a +7. You subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. Now let's look at E. I have 16 red and I have 12 blue boxes. Negatives, I have more negative boxes than I have positive boxes. So I'm going to subtract those. They're canceling each other out. And 16 minus 12 gives me 4. Okay, now I need to think about it. I had more red boxes, so it's a -4. You keep the sign of the one you had the most of. And we already talked about -4 and a +4 gives us 0. Now let's look at the next example, which is subtracting. The easiest way to do this is change your subtraction to addition. So think of this as being 6 plus a -8. Change the sign of the one behind it. So this is -12 plus a -4. This would be -10 plus a +7. This would be 15 plus a +3, which you're doing is changing the signs after it. So positive 6, negative 8. Signs are opposite. We subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. And since I had more negatives, my answer is negative 2. On B, negative 12 plus negative 4. They're all negative. So I add them together, and I'm going to have negative 16. On C, a negative 10 and a positive 7. Okay, I'm going to subtract because they're not the same. 10 minus 7 is 3. And then because I had more negatives, it's a negative 3. On this one, 15 plus positive 3. They're all positive. So they're all the same color. I add them up. I end up with 18. And it would be a positive 18 because they were all the same sign. So when signs are the same, you add them up and keep the sign. When signs are opposite, you subtract them and keep the sign of the one you had the most of.